obviously here in the context of the CIFIDS project, which is about cooperation and working together. That's something that's come out very strongly in what you were saying this morning, something that you very definitely encourage.
Well, absolutely. I think there's very good cooperation, collaboration between interests of fishing, academia and the Scottish Government. And the CIFIDS project, I think, has many potential benefits for fishing, both in terms of the efficient, effective operation of fishing and also in terms of safety. I think helping different sectors of fishing, creelers and dredgers, to establish a modus operandi to avoid conflict, potentially. That's a few years ahead perhaps, but I can see how the applications might be of benefit in certain situations which are causative of some tensions in the fishing industry.
The fishing industry is no longer an industry out on its own. Definitely being embraced with academia, with the scientists, but we also heard this morning about other connections with food and drink, and actually ensuring that the fishing industry is recognised for the part it plays.
Well, that's right, and food and drink is now, by some measures of total revenue to Scotland, the largest sector in the economy of all. The niche markets like Spain for our shellfish, like the Far East for razor clams, France for La Belle Rouge, the high quality farmed salmon. The potential is limitless, and I think part of my job is to ensure that fishermen and indeed farmers, the primary producers and hunter-gatherers, get the credit and not squeezed out of the messaging. So this is an opportunity to do just that.
All of this, whether we like it or not, is set against the backdrop of Brexit.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Scottish fisheries as we go forward into Brexit?
Well, my overall determination is to be the champion of the Scottish fishing sector, off and onshore, from pelagic demersal through to creels and inshore fisheries. And it's a diverse sector, there's many different issues involved. But my overall aim is to be the champion of the sector as a whole, to spend time listening to what they say and get around the coast, go and meet with fishermen, and that's what I've been doing and I will continue to do, and taking steps when necessary, as I've outlined this morning, to progress and protect their interests in every respect. Brexit offers potential risks and loss of access to market and potential loss of workers who are key to process our fish, and in the loss of EMF funding, which amounts to £128 million, which has been vital for things like training actually, and improvements to harbours and in vessels as well. And I'm just about to announce another round of awards under EMFF to bolster and boost the sector as a whole. But of course also we want to get a better deal than under the CFP, which hasn't served Scotland well, with no voice in Europe, as we see it, having been let down by UK governments over the years, and individual decisions that we didn't support foisted on Scotland. So it's absolutely essential that we have the strongest Scottish voice, and that task befalls to me.
Are you afraid that Scottish fisheries will end up as what many people have suggested as this bargaining chip as part of that process?
Well, I'm extremely concerned about that, and whilst I have courteous workmanlike relations with my counterparts in the UK, George Eustace and Andrea Leadsom, they have not answered a simple question which I put to them on numerous occasions, directly, face-to-face, across the table, which is this: can you give categoric assurance that you will not, as part of a wider Brexit negotiation, trade away permanent access to Scotland and indeed the UK's fishing zone? Can you guarantee there won't be a deal with the Spanish which might involve, for example, Gibraltar? And the answer has come none. And that, I suspect, is because the UK plans, as indeed Theresa May said in her first speech this year on Brexit, to do deals with the likes of the Spanish, and already plans to do that, just as in 1972 their plans were conducted on the secret premise, unbeknownst to the time and certainly not broadcast to Scotland, that our fishermen were, quotes, expendable.
But the fishing industry itself is in a good place, a strong place. I mean, you've been involved with it for a year or so now. Are you encouraged by what you've seen?
Yes, I am encouraged. I think there's been a great deal of success and optimism. We were able, in part due to our experienced and astute officials, to secure a reasonable outcome in the last fishing round in December, with I think nearly 50 million of additional fishing opportunities secured as a result of deals done. So there has been a lot of success, both inshore, pelagic, demersal, shellfish. And of course, that's because there's a lot of highly successful businesses. Fishermen are fishermen first, but they're in business, they're business people, and there's a lot of entrepreneurialism, and we want to help to capture that by supporting it through marketing grants, processing assistance, and helpful regulation which protects the interests, for example, of inshore fishermen against those who are masquerading as hobbyists while selling hundreds of lobster from the back of a van illegally. We can do things to help, and the way we do this is to listen very carefully to the interests of those who make a livelihood from the sea, fishermen, and others, of course, in tourism and energy, and NGOs. Obviously, they have a voice too. There has been reasonably good times over the last year, and that's a good thing. And my job is to make sure that continues so far as we can in government action and support.